Okay, welcome back. We've installed Windows Server, have it up and running. Now we're going to create an account just for us. All right, so that's not a big deal. We're going to go to the Windows Administrative Tools, and we're going to go to Computer Management. We're going to go down here to the Local Users. Okay, and I'm going to do a right click and say New User. Now the names here are not all that important, but we're going to have to remember it because we're going to, when we create a domain account, it's going to have to be slightly different. So I'm going to use the dot in there. And password is I'm going to use the same one, 4376 2025 CIS 4376 2025. Cool. Make sure this thing is not set to and I'm going to go ahead and say user can't change the password because I don't want this thing to prop up. You know, in like in my case, years later when I come back to this guy, it says, "Hey man, you need to change your password." Nah, bullshit. I don't want to do that. Okay, cool. Now we need to do some tweaks to it. I'm going to go to properties and I'm going to change it so I'm a member of the administrators group. So I'm just going to type in administrators, hit check name to make sure I got it spelled right. I hit OK, and boom, now I'm in there as that. So it's time for me to log out of the administrator, because normally you would never stay logged into the administrator for any reason whatsoever. You'd have a normal account that you would use. That's what we're doing. So I'm going to go here, go to the administrator guy, and say I want to sign out. And then we're going to turn right around. This time I'm going to use the control thing guy. And not picking that, I'm picking this. And I'm going to type in CIS 4376 225. Oh man, what did I spell? CIS 4376 2025. Okay, cool. All right, so now we're going to have to go through kind of some of the same stuff. Okay, now again, I'm not worried about this server management dashboard. We are going to be using a lot of it, but for right now, it's rather annoying, and so I'm going to temporarily make it go away. So over here under Manage on this guy, it says, if I go to Properties, it says, you want to start this thing? And I say, do not start automatically login. I mean, yes, we are going to use this feature, but I find it annoying. Okay, so far so good. So let's go to the settings on here. Normal thing you would do, you hit the little star, right? And let's see what's going on with regard to the updates, because we just installed a brand new thing, and we probably need to go ahead and get in here and do some things. Check for updates. But there's a thing here called advanced options. It says received updates for other products. Now, under normal circumstances, in a Windows 10 environment or 11 environment, this would already be checked. But for some reason, in server, they don't want you to do that. In other words, first of all, we're not going to install Microsoft Office on here. So there's really not much else this thing can do for us. But I want to go ahead and make it. Okay. So give me the other updates. Okay, and then... oh, it's probably been a while, so I'm going to hit check for updates, and I'm going to put it on pause because this is probably going to take a while. Okay, it went through without too much trouble. Okay, a couple of things we're going to do is, remember I talked about this little guy for the speaker? If I click on this guy, it says, and go to sounds, and it's come up, hey man, you don't have it. Yeah, I do want it. Okay, cool. So now all it just turns the speaker on. It's no big deal. Okay. The other thing you can do is kind of weird is the thing about the account photos. I mean, that's kind of hamming up a little bit, right? But, what the heck, right? Change account settings and whether or not you want to have a come on, behave. Yay. And, oh. Okay, fine. I won't bother. It's kind of silly to do it anyway. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the Edge browser is working the way we want. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Edge. Come on. So the first time you go through, it says, hey, you want to sync with your data? Look, this is a test environment. So no, I do not. And I'm not going to bring over anything. and I do not want to have any Google data involved, right? And I don't want to do any of that stuff. So I just, just kind of, and look, I don't care about any of this. I'm just going to hit next and finish. And personally, I don't like all this distraction. That's just me. So I'm going to go down here to the settings thing and basically tell it, what is it you want when you fire this guy up? You want to turn in all the stuff like the appearance, and so I don't want any themes. When I go here, I don't want to have all the rest of this junk. Okay, all right. So that's about it for right now. It's got everything you kind of sort of need to know how to log into and configure a machine. Okay, remember that folder thing? And now we should be able to copy and paste back and forth without any troubles, right? We should be able to. Cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and do one thing that's a little different here, and just to make it kind of convenient for me, I'm going to map a drive letter onto this guy, just because it just makes sense. So I'm going to say map drive letter, and I'm going to call it drive Z. Because that's how it works in the other versions of Windows, Windows 10, Windows 11. You automatically get this guy. I just want to do it just to make it convenient. Okay, that's the end of this little instructions, and I'll see you guys in the next video.